Alright.
Hey, Circle family.
Yo.
What's up, Circle family? These are your...
Yeah.
Hey.
Holla if you're with us.
What up, Circle people?
What's up?
Yo.
You're just coming in. Say hi.
Say hello.
Yep. Drop a one if you're with us live.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
So who's with us tonight?
Who's with us? Say what up.
So we are on Talk to Tingz Thursdays, episode 8. So we are 8 weeks in, guys. Can you guys believe that we're 8 weeks in?
Wow.
This little idea of let's start a little way to recap the week and see what's up. We're 8 weeks in and we're really enjoying evolving. We've had so many new members. And speaking of new members, we've got some new faces tonight.
Yeah,
so we're just going to recap.
Let's do it.
Intros.
Yeah, we got to do intro. Hey, first of all, welcome to the circle. This is Talk to Tingz, episode 8. Yep. Your boy Big J up in the building. Yo. Over here, we got the beautiful Lisa Thompson.
Hey.
We got Snuggy Dougie, Doug Moore.
Snuggy.
Of course, TK in the building. And we got a new one. This is a special one. We brought out the big guns tonight.
Yes.
This is our fellow admin. You know what I mean? Irish Wildflower. Oralágh Hughes.
Can you introduce yourself?
No, it's okay. Just keep going.
All right. Sounds good. We want you in the shot, man.
I'm in the shot.
No, your foot's in the shot. Yes. Okay, good. So this week, oh my gosh. So lately, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been asking my team to fill me in on what's going on. We always go over some of the hot topics. Topics will just sprout up, and then you'll get the whole, can this be on Top of Tingz? Because it is very hard to keep up with all the comments. So I'm going to take it to my team and ask them to give me the rundown on this topic, this thread about interracial relationships. I recall seeing a post saying, do you feel like when a white woman has children with a black man, that automatically gives her liberty to start using certain jargon? Words like nigga and other Caribbean jargon and things and so on. So can somebody fill me in on that? And what was the consensus? What was the opposing? What was the challenging perspective on that? Where are we with it?
That was deep. You just went right in there.
It is, because I'm trying to get caught right up.
Hold on. So what are we talking about before?
The interracial post.
Interracial post.
There was a post about, do we feel like when you're dating a black man?
We got to big up the people first.
Yes.
Alicia, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Alicia. I see Malika.
Oh, Malika.
Danielle. Yes.
Nathaniel Frazier.
Shout out
Miss
to
Lopez.
Nathaniel. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. One more week. Holy crow, 8 weeks.
And there's so many new things coming, guys. Just stay tuned. We are trying.
Yeah, we're trying our best. Just work with us. We appreciate it,
Bear with us.
Big it's coming. Big things.
You soon can dip on the couch and not have to dip on the couch.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
All right.
A little bit of the tea.
All right.
Hold on. Malika said it's her birthday.
Is it her birthday?
Malika, it's your birthday.
What?
Stop telling
Happy birthday, Malika! Happy birthday. Now it makes sense, my girl.
Happy birthday.
Send in the picture you want, girl.
Yeah, send in the picture. All right. So talk to Tingz. We're ready to talk to Tingz. So going back to earlier, what Tanika was talking about, there was a post about interracial relationships and the dynamics behind it.
Does it give the person a pass? For example, the post was, if you have a white woman who has children with a black man, does that give her the pass to start using some culturally reserved jargons and jokes and inside jokes and terminology? And I didn't really get much into it, so that's why I'm asking you guys to bring me up to speed.
Well, from my experience, I've only ever been in interracial relationships, so and all my friends are somewhere either from Africa or the Caribbean, and they always say to me, you know, Doug, he's my nigga, stuff like that, right? And it's like, it's kind of hard not to, and it's in my music. I used to DJ, so it's like, I can understand, like, I don't go around speaking like that. If you look at me, you wouldn't even know that I was into interracial relationships. You probably even look at me and think I look like this stereotypical racist guy. Maybe, I don't know, right? But
you mean because you don't walk around dressing urban?
I don't really. Yeah, I don't like.
It's a public perception, you know.
Public perception, right?
Yeah. Are you too clean cut for people to be able to read that right off the bat, which is exactly what we're talking about.
Well,
the woman who has children for Black women, and then people just know.
You know what? I don't even know who I dress after. I just dress for what fits me, right? Like, I'm not into, like, sagging my pants, and I don't know if that's a white thing or a black thing.
No, it's I don't know what that is. I don't want to sag my pants.
Right?
It's a
that's a child thing.
Yeah,
Grow up.
Right.
Put up your pants.
Like, I don't know why we're emulating people in jail.
Don't worry, that's not a race thing. That's not a race thing.
Right. So I don't like. I don't know. I just am who I am, right? And I love the culture. I love the African culture. I love the Caribbean culture. I love the food, Caribbean food. So good.
Look, Claude
great, extra great. You know?
Claude A says the post was simple: cultural appropriation, and people wanted to act like it wasn't brand new.
Is it brand new though?
But
is it brand new? I don't think it's
somebody going around in like, you know, like just being that. I don't know, like I don't know, like it's not for me. Like I just be me. But I like the culture. I embrace it and I support it and have fun with it. I go visit, you know, the Caribbeans. I go somewhere hot like once or most of the time twice a year.
Yeah.
Right.
So hey, Orla, what about you?
Me, I don't know.
You're
like,
in an interrelationship relationship,
but I don't act or dress or do anything a certain way. Like I grew up in Ireland. I'm Irish. I lived in Africa for a little bit of my life, so you know I don't adapt to a culture. Like my parents brought me up that if I want pasta or I want this or that, the other, I'll eat it. But I don't change myself for a certain person. If I like a dress, I'll buy it, whether it's, you know, it seemed as an Indian culture, it seemed like as an African dress, or if I like it, I'll buy it and I'll wear it. But I don't see, like, I don't go a specific way. Oh, my guy's wearing a pair of Jordans, I'm going to buy them. Or my guy's wearing this, you know, outfit, I'm going to go buy something similar. Like, I wear the most random clothes most of the time. When I was a kid, my birthday, I lived in Africa as a kid, I just said, and I had to wear sari to school. I had to wear sari on my birthday. It's, you adopt the cultures, right? But it doesn't mean I'm going to try and be that culture. I'm just going to be what I am.
All right.
So you're still you.
Yeah,
and you're still you.
I'm still me. I have a point to
That's
make
not
too.
what the post was. That's not what the post turned into.
Yeah, the post might kind of.
I have a point to make before you continue. Before I forget, it actually defeats the whole purpose of interracial relationships, because when you get into an interracial relationship, that person's interested in you because of your culture, right? So if they wanted to date somebody of their culture, they would have, right? So it's like for me, like I wouldn't want to date, you know, an African person or a Caribbean person that's, you know, that does everything that my culture does. So it's fun to mix up the both, and it makes it more interesting.
You mean you want them to keep their identity?
Yeah, keep their identity. That's why.
Because that's what attracted you to them in the first place?
Exactly.
Interesting. Lisa?
Anything, Lisa? Miss Thompson?
That's a little loaded. I don't want to touch that one.
All right.
I want to circle back and talk about where the post had gone. So that post had gone left as such. So there were people commenting, and it went left because there were people commenting who I can appreciate are respectful of some of the work that people of other races do for us and with us.
Friends of the Black community.
Right, advocates.
Yeah.
For us and with us to make, you know, the dynamics better, opportunities exist, and that sort of thing. Right? So there were people saying things like, what does it mean to act Black and talk Black? And I got myself in a little hot water because, you know, I'm just not gonna hold my tongue when like something is like just going left for no real reason.
Right.
Like, can we just debate what the post is and not act like you don't know what it is because you are appreciative of your friends and families and counterparts who are of these other races. We're specifically talking about Black and white people. You want me to believe that you've never in your lifetime, and you're an adult, everybody has to be over 18 in the group. You have never in your lifetime, and predominantly the group lives in Brampton, you have never in your lifetime seen a white person who acts or talks Black? Really?
Yeah.
You want me to believe that?
That's hard to believe.
Stop this. You know what she means.
Yes.
I'm not saying that this is how I would describe it, but you know what the poster is talking about.
You can make
so let's just debate the issue.
I actually get annoyed when I see a lot of people.
We can have such an intellectual discourse on what it is that we're bothered by.
So do you feel like there's some sort of dichotomy? Like everybody goes into it with their own little psychological dichotomy, and then you can't even have a discussion on a real issue because people refuse to be honest with themselves about what they're seeing?
Because they won't even open themselves to what the issue is. They're denying the issue at its root. You've got your nose pierced. An East Indian woman could say, a South Asian woman could say, you're appropriating her culture.
And I would tell her that I absolutely am, and I would tell her respectfully what I really love is what it represents. I pierced my nose for fertility because I was so fertile. I was blessed with twins, and I had 2 piercings, one for each of my twins. And I understood that, and I didn't want to pierce it until I went to a woman and asked her, which side do you pierce and for what reasons? And I understood that you pierce this side for fertility. It's not my culture.
So someone
could something that I embrace
say
about it. Yes.
That you're appropriating your I
absolutely
ate with chopsticks today at lunch because I had Vietnamese food.
Right.
Yeah.
A Vietnamese woman walked by me and gave me the up and down. I'm a motherfucking appropriating her culture.
She probably
I could have eaten it with a fork. My culture eats with forks. You see what I'm saying?
So
we take pieces from everybody's
without realizing
culture.
it.
Why are we so triggered by it?
Yeah.
Why are we so incensed by it?
This is a big topic. Like, I come from a strong Oralágh Maroon Taino background, and there's a lot of things that I see that, like, according to, you know, society's norms and Christianity's would be seen as, you know what I mean? It's what do you want to call it? New Age, or what they want to say is anti-Christian. But I still have to look at a lot of the things that I learned from my roots, because at the end of the day, that's a part of my heritage. Do you know what I mean? But when you see me, I don't look like a Native person. And people wonder why I embrace my boyfriend's Native side. Do I kind of look? Yeah, I've been told about straight. But people often wonder, like, a woman looked at me and cut her eye at me for having my dream catcher and my lemongrass in my car. They don't understand why I embrace it, because it's not visible to me. So I can understand why when people see a white person embracing so much predominant Black culture, they feel like, oh, because they may not understand how much of that person identifies with. So I see both sides of it, because I get a lot of cut eye from the Native community. Meanwhile, the majority of my bloodline was indigenous to the island. So I can relate to them more. You know what I mean? But visibly, you wouldn't see that. So what about the white girl who's actually like a Mariah Carey? She's that much Black, but you just don't see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is why I feel like we have to actually start asking more questions, instead of just assuming that a person doesn't have a right to be as curious about your culture as you might be about your culture.
I just want to know why we're so vocal about it.
That's just the thing, man.
We want to own something. I feel like we feel like everything's been taken from us. So this one thing, can we just have this one thing? We're taking everything.
That's what I want people to admit.
Yeah. I understand.
Come on, man. We need to be back possible.
But if you're, you're sagging your pants, you're wearing trainers, that's a different thing to embrace. If you're using the N-word, which is what I hate. And I have a lot of friends use that word, and to be honest, they laugh. They'll be like, oh, Orla's here, you're not allowed to use that word. Which is hilarious to me, but they know, don't use that around because you don't like it. I don't use it. I don't respect that word. I don't like derogatory terms. There's 100 ones for me, and anybody uses that at me, I'm going for your juggler. It is what it is. I don't like that kind of thing, so for me personally. However, if someone who's Irish start using Irish derogatory terms, I'm like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to stand for that.
Right.
And I understand on that aspect why people get mad at the situation. If you're embracing food, culture, festivals, I get that. But parts of people's culture that they don't like or they don't like to be identified with, or it's something that's used derogatory, I understand why people get their backs up about it.
All right,
interesting. So just to recap some of the topics as before we move on, Nikki says she loves your accent, by the way. Nikki,
Nikki, I don't have an accent. Everybody else does.
Slang who says the subject is well touchy. Kudos to us, guys. What's up, Tizzy? Oh no, Danielle's tagging Tizzy.
Julie, what up?
Layla K says, okay, Rachel Dolezal, we get it, you from Africa. That was not nice, Layla.
Oh, hey, very nice.
Layla, come on
Come
now.
on, man.
And then that was Layla K. I think that was towards you. I didn't.
No,
I would have
I'm
screamed that.
from there. I lived there.
I would have. Thank you for clarifying.
There you go.
Layla
She lived there. She's not from there. She's
I
Irish.
lived there for 4 years.
Mind your business.
She's just saying that she's been around the world. She's not just,
I lived there.
you know. So Layla K, maybe you want to just replay and hear what she's saying.
Let's just move on from this for a little. You know,
and then we have Joe Hoskins. Big up Joe Hoskins. Big up. Elizabeth Jackson said, Marich, good evening. And Claude said the post was simple.
Lee, I see you, Lee.
To take it like it was brand new.
Thank you. Like, really, though.
Where's Kimberly? I'm trying to get to the comments, y'all.
I think we just want to own something.
All right.
And I get it, but like other cultures, they might not appreciate some things that we do. They're just not so. They're not so touchy about it. So sure, it might be offensive to you to see it because, you know, I mentioned a situation where it's like, you know, someone wants to do something and then compare us.
Yeah.
You know, as if it's a competition. And that's where it gets problematic for me because it's like, I don't mind that you do X, Y, and Z, but don't make comparisons. You know, we'll never be the same.
No.
You know, we all bleed red, don't get me wrong. But our differences are beautiful.
Yeah.
Why can't they just be beautiful?
Our imperfections are perfect.
You know, so moving into a slight segue, I was dialoguing with somebody about when, you know, black men date white women and then stop dating black women altogether after that. Or they start saying things like, you know, and nothing's wrong with that if that's your preference, but it's like they'll say things like, you know, I want kids with pretty hair or, you know, good skin or whatever the case may be, or, you know, you're too argumentative. Why do we have to make those comparisons? So why can't you just love somebody for who they are?
Without putting down what you don't prefer.
Without putting down what you don't prefer.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely don't see white men who date black women going around trashing white women just because they prefer black men. Like, we have a living example here of a man who's, you know, always been down with the swirl. I don't hear Dougie going around putting down white women. No, just because you prefer black women, it doesn't mean you have to put down white women. And that's probably something that needs to be discussed more within the black community of men who date white women. Because, you know, this is probably a part of the reason why black women feel angry towards their men and maybe feel abandoned that date exclusively outside of their race.
Well, that goes into the second topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the second?
So, I think we had, where were we at? Cultural appropriation is a thing.
When we see black men with white women, it's more palatable for some reason than it is to see a black woman with a white man. So today there was a discussion that Nikki put up. How many couples do you see? And there were 2 gay couples, a male couple and a female couple, and there was an interracial couple where the woman was black and the man was white.
Interesting.
And the responses were interesting.
That's really
because a lot of people acknowledged that there were 3 couples up there.
Oh, wow.
But you had some people who said 0, which is fine.
1.
You had some people who said they saw 1 couple, and you had some people who said they saw 2 couples.
Interesting.
So the 2 couples is the second topic where they were saying, these few people, that they don't view a black woman and a white man as an actual couple.
Why? Can I know why? Did we get any elaboration?
A black woman and a white man?
Yeah.
Is not an actual couple?
No.
it's not viewed as an actual couple.
Not
Why
viewed as
isn't
Not
it
by
viewed?
everybody. That's just by select people.
So I want to know
wanna
for those
play
who
like
don't
that.
view it that way,
You
why
know?
don't you? Because you guys, now is a good time to get this discussion popping.
So the one person that I was speaking with, I don't know if you're here, I'm kind of like
So that means my kids are
shining you
real?
under a light, but I'm not gonna call your name.
Well, that's like saying your children are not children. Then.
My children aren't children because they're mixed. They're fake. Yeah.
See,
No,
if you, this is what Dougie's
Slippery
saying.
slope.
Is if you start going down one path, then you have to start accepting that if this, then that.
You can't be hypocritical.
If this, then that. So if that's not a couple, what are those children? Are they holograms? Are they
No,
children?
they're real. What do you-
So then the couple's real too.
Then the couple's gotta be real. But
So, I mean, if they're real, the couple's
The
real.
couple's real, and it is
So-
accepted in certain places. They can't say like it's the children are fake.
I
or
want
whatever.
them to chime in
Let's
so
hear
that they
about
can
it.
But like,
defend
what are they
their
thinking?
position. Julie,
Yeah.
big
I know
up the
we
rest
don't
of the
think like
admin
that,
team who
but-
couldn't be here
What's
today.
up, Tampa?
Julie,
Everybody's
Autumn,
thinking-
Jason,
Okay.
Amenem Hat, big up.
Yes.
Danielle, yeah.
Oh, Tom.
Tompus, you're there at work.
Bon
Hold it
fire
down, but I
on
see you with
Tompus.
your comments.
I just don't like you.
Sorry,
Anyways,
go ahead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We need to spice things up a bit here. What's going on in the circle right now? I've been MIA, busy boy. So what's been going on? I need to talk to things, you know. Feeling away right now.
Are you
You
feeling
know?
the truth
So-
juice?
The truth juice? Yes, I'm feeling the truth juice.
That was
So-
in that same post. That's where I was having that discussion with those people about like if you accept one kind of love, you gotta accept the other.
Yes, because I was going to say, we didn't really even get into that
Like,
topic. That
it
topic got
went
spicy.
down that road too.
Spicy topic.
That
Which
topic
one?
got the black men and white women versus white men and black women. That topic got spicy.
I don't know what she's saying.
Mm.
We'll get back to her. Mm-hmm. So is this spicy enough for you, Big J?
You and okay,
You want the
Doug,
recap? Don't worry.
talk about what you saw in your topic. Talk about what you saw in your thread.
Me?
Yeah.
So basically, we were talking about like. So this is the reason. Like, I don't hate gay people at all. I love them, right? I love their people. That's why I love them. But I don't accept gay love, because if I accept gay love, then that opens up a can of worms to accept incest, bestiality, all the pedophilia, all those kind of loves. Because if you go back in history, there's never been a time where people didn't fight for their rights until they got those rights. And then when they got those rights, a new set of people came up, right? So if you accept that,
you feel like they're like, if
they're
the interracials can date, then now the gays can date. Because
Right.
once upon a time it was illegal to marry a black person.
right, it was
White
illegal
person.
to be gay, but now it's not, right? It's
Mm.
accepted.
Thank you.
So
That's okay.
I believe if you accept that, you can't be hypocritical and not accept those other things. So I'm not going to be hypocritical, and I'm not going to hate those people, because God doesn't hate those people,
Like you
and
just
God lives in my heart. I don't know about yours, but lives in my heart. He just doesn't like the act, and I don't like the act.
And so, are you saying that in order to keep your integrity to the act,
Because if I
you stand
accept,
by what you don't accept? Because if you do accept one and don't accept the other, you would become a hypocrite.
right,
So for your own integrity, I think what you're saying is you maintain your position on that one thing, because you're not going to be compromised. You're not going to compromise who you are to say, okay, I'm going to accept half and not the other.
exactly, right?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I accept love that produces life.
Joe Hoskins says the
That's like
slippery
you.
slope is a fallacy.
What did he say? The slippery slope?
Yeah, that's a fallacy. Explain.
I want to know why. See, guys, when you come in with your comments,
You can't
we
just
want
drop
to
into
hear
the
more.
one-liners.
You got to give us more. Why is it a fallacy? We need to know, because we're here to learn from you guys too. So, why is it a fallacy? Let's get some more out of that.
What was he saying? That
Doug talk the tings. Yes, Nathaniel, Doug talk the tings for real.
And my son, his name's Nathaniel. Don't tell nobody.
To 3.4 thousand
waiting. I'm waiting. Why is it a fallacy?
Joe's not.
Why is it a
agree with
fallacy
that?
then?
First of all, what is? I don't even heard that word in my life. What's
It's
Yeah,
fake.
what is
Falsehood.
a falsehood?
falsehood?
He's saying slippery slope. The concept of slippery slope is a falsehood.
So he doesn't think that in the future there'll be like pedophilia.
They
as
will have
something
their prey.
acceptable.
One
They
day.
won't. I don't think so.
They're fighting. They're already decriminalizing
it.
They're actually classifying it as a sexual orientation, and they are in the process of decriminalizing it.
Don't be too in denial.
They've already
decriminalizing it.
Anyone comes near any of my kids, I don't have any by the way, but if anybody comes near any of my kids or anybody related to me, they're gone. Like
But people said that about gay people. People spent the rest of their life in jail.
Love, but if you're a 50-year-old pervert going after a 9-year-old child, sorry.
No, I get that. I'm on your team.
No, man, I'm not.
I'm on your team.
She's showing you the devil's advocate.
But I'm telling you that there was people out there that are still in jail because they murdered a gay person for being gay.
Yeah,
right? So you be that person.
That's fine. I will gladly go to jail for someone touching a child.
That's cool.
Go to jail for someone touching a child?
Touching my child.
Yeah,
you touch any.
You're not supposed to touch children in general. So
I don't care if people think it's acceptable.
If it's not my kid, it's someone else's kid. No, I'm telling. I'm telling. You touch a child, I'm telling. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I think that's one time when you have to stand up and. I think it just comes down to the fact that you have it. You have what separates this is you have the will and presence of mind of two consenting and conscious and culpable adults versus you have somebody inserting and imposing their will upon a person who's not able to make that decision.
Racism will never go away. Just hide it better. I guess what he's trying.
VJ.
Wow. Oh, you know something. You can only hide it so far because as you can see, it comes all the way down into
Trump brought it out in the open.
But here's what's happened.
He made it normal.
Yeah, here's what's happened.
People were racist and they thought, okay, I'll be closeted. I won't say this stuff because it's not right. But he's like,
but have you noticed the police killing of black men and women since Trump has been in office has quelled?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like a lot of people share this perspective, and I don't necessarily know where I sit with it, but what I hear often is when you had Trump in office, the powers that be Obama in office, they couldn't fight the fact that a black man was in office, but what they said was, you might have your little mouthpiece up here saying what you think you want him to say for you, but at the end of the day, we still actually have feet on the ground. Since Trump has been in power, you don't see as many people getting dragged out of cars and shot down by police anymore. So I think that it's safe to say that racism is very much alive and well. It just shapeshifts with whatever power is in office.
For me, Obama's a slippery slope.
I think so. You think he's a slippery slope?
Obama, I don't know. I heard some things, I don't know. You know when you go too far into internet? I got lost one day.
You get down in the deep dark web.
Deep. And now my views are skewed. On everything, not just Obama.
What about him though? It's not just because
I don't want to say it.
Do you think it's the administration?
What did he do? What did he do for black people? He did. I guess he did well, right?
Did he
do enough? Did he do enough? No.
I don't think he had enough time.
What more could he do?
I don't think he had enough time.
The nation's economy was a shit mess. Yeah. He recognizes that Americans, and I know that we have some in the Circle family, but the education system in America isn't what it is here.
No, it is true.
He tried to fix it. He might not have done well at it, but he tried to fix it.
I don't think he
recognizes that we have universal health care because people deserve universal health care. And he may not have done an amazing job at it, but remember, a president's a puppet. So these are things that he wants to do. Mm. But really, the people behind the scenes are the ones who make all the decisions.
So for him
that's the main concept I was hearing.
So if it's great, it's great. If it's not, it's still.
Obama was good though.
I think he did great with what he had to work with.
I think so. I think so. Considering that you don't really ever have your voice ever reach out as the president, it's really the administration. I think he got a lot out. I think he got a lot said and done. I think that he went in there with an agenda to see certain changes come into place, and he made sure that he did exactly what he could do. Mm-hmm. He said, if they're going to give me this much, then I'm going to use all of that this much. Mm-hmm. And I think he did the best with what they would let him do.
And can we just give the man some credit? He loved him some Michelle. And it's the first administration in almost 20 years with no scandal.
Yo, you didn't, it's true.
Not one scandal in 8 years.
What's Alicia saying? No, I don't agree.
Mm-hmm. I agree with the Obama thing.
I don't agree. My cousin was shot and killed by New York police just last month, 16 shots. I didn't say none, Alicia. I'm so sorry for your family's situation. I've just noticed that it's not been on such an offensive rampage. It was almost like it was you know, blow, 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 blow. Like you don't even get a chance to really catch your breath. I do agree it is still happening, but I do see that it has been on a decline since this person has been in office. It's almost as though a message was being sent at that time because it was happening in rapid succession, and it almost appeared organized. And that's the sentiment that a lot of Americans have shared with me. So I do apologize for your family situation. I was not trying to say it doesn't happen at all. And I do send my condolences to you. And I'm very sorry your family had to deal with that.
But do you guys think maybe that the media only puts in our head what they want us to see?
I believe that.
So of course, that everybody knows that.
I know that.
But you think it happens just as much now that it did before, but they're just not showing it?
They're just better at it.
As
time goes by, the news gets better at telling us what they want to tell us.
Yeah,
right. Not what we need to know. They'll tell you what you need to know, but they just it's in their view.
Right.
I mean, like CNN, that's their view on this.
Need to know basis.
Fox News, that's their view on this.
I personally canceled cable because of the news. I find it very brainwashing.
Yeah.
Right.
I select my news now. Like I said, I pick and choose where I get my news from.
Right. Exactly.
I'm extremely selective.
Right.
I'm extremely selective.
If I watch it at all anymore. Like, I don't even care what the weather's going to be. I just...
There's not on your phone.
Child support. Are we going to move into that child support topic?
Yes.
Yes.
So, y'all.
This is a topic that you were involved with.
Yes, I got extremely, extremely animated on this topic.
Let's talk about child support.
So, did you want to frame the post for those who missed it and what the context of the post was?
Well, there were 2 child support posts this week. So which one do the people want to start with? There was one post about what you should and shouldn't be doing with your child support money.
Oh my God.
And then there was another post about whether or not a man who does not want a child should have to pay child support. Option A.
What? Really?
Yes, Midir. The child support.
So say that last one. Say that last one again.
Yes, that was the
so a man feels like
he didn't want the child.
He doesn't want the child.
He didn't want the child.
He wants it to be so he shouldn't have to pay child support.
But if she decides not to report the baby,
yes, he should.
Thomas posted it, and he didn't frame it from any kind of position.
It was
He's
just very
asking
general. If the man doesn't want the child,
right?
It depends. If the girl's pregnant and she said I'm pregnant, right off the bat, it's like nothing to do with it.
Oh, we started with this heavy one.
No.
Yeah,
we started with option 2.
I have no kids, by the way, so don't take what I say as gospel.
No. You gotta say.
However, if a guy says from the start, I don't want the child, whatever. 9 times out of 10, when the baby's born, they want that child. That's they've grew to love it. They've grew to be like, all right, I don't like her, but I'll take my child. So there's a difference. They want to be part of their life. They want it. There's a difference there. Then some guys like I don't even know who you are. No, we're not having this child. You have it, and you decide to have it. There's no support, and then you have the child, and they're like, no. I said no from the start. So there's a difference. You can be like, all right, cool, I'm taking to court anyway. DNA test it, or you can be like, you know what? Me personally, as a stubborn Irish girl, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you. Me and my kid don't need you. I chose to have this kid. This is my decision. I'll have it. So there's 2 ways you can go. If someone said to me, I'll stand by you, we're not together, but I'll be there for my child, perfect. Whether you can give me $100 a week, 200, if you want to help support your child, take your child and give me support, that's brilliant. We can co-parent, do that. But if you want nothing to do with it, then when my child's born, it's not your child.
So in other words, if he wants nothing to do with it, he should just relinquish his rights from.
He should sign.
He should just sign over his rights, saying, I'm taking no responsibility. That came up, didn't it? About what if he relinquishes? What about giving the man the option to relinquish his rights? Therefore, you don't have to. He's no longer obligated to pay for the child.
There's a difference. That come up with it.
What about
emotions change though?
With sex? There's a risk of procreation.
Well, the thing
and both parties go into it knowing
you go into it knowing that. You know, you've been taught since
that every form of birth control
the birds and the bees. You know, you're gonna have sex. You might breed her. You know what I'm saying?
If you carry around a loaded gun, you might shoot somebody.
You might get pregnant. I'm sorry. You might get pregnant.
What is this logic? Someone might get pregnant? Oh my gosh.
Maybe I shouldn't stick my thing down that thing.
To be honest, that's the thing I think of. Well, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this might. You don't
either that, you still can. Like it's gonna fall off.
So then, if the woman comes up now, after the fact, the woman comes up and she says, "Okay, babe, you know that I'm on the ring. the birth control and my tubes are tied, but somehow I'm still pregnant. And the man says, I don't want nothing to do with it. At that point, both parties have, at least one party has exercised as much due diligence as they can to ensure they don't get pregnant, but somehow you're still pregnant. I want to hear from you. What happens then? Does the man just say, yo, like, okay, no, seriously, I don't want this child. I'm relinquishing my rights. Or at that point, is some of the onus on him now?
It's his fault. He was under his steam fish and water crackers, and them things them just did a fire too good. It's his fault though. Make him pay, Virgin. I'm kidding.
I don't know. I'm torn on this.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no.
It's a tough situation.
You have some thoughts on this?
No.
No, you're not thoughts?
No.
Personally, I feel like if the two of you cannot come to a point where you cannot dictate, because this was another topic that I did catch, can a man decide what a woman does with the baby? You may not be able to enforce that woman to have an abortion, but if you've done everything you can to ask her and say, listen, I don't want this child, because your body is not the body that's going to have to go through the whole process of having an abortion and the side effects and down the line consequences of it, you may not be able to enforce that on a woman. But then at the least, if you've gone to her and said, I don't want this child, if it's against your wishes to have an abortion, I'm going to sign a waiver that says, I want nothing to do with this child. Why isn't that an option in Canada?
The same way that
why not?
we go to court for child support, that should go to court too.
I think that there should be a court document whereby a person
if it's going to come down to that, then.
But you gotta have waiver before the sex.
Can I tell you?
Okay, like an NDA, like a non-disclosure, like a non.
Let me I saw a
Wait a minute,
I saw
a
subthread where somebody was suggesting that they have the guy have the women he's gonna have sex with sign a waiver before they have sex.
No, you drink. Like,
but I was just gonna say there are celebrities who do that, but
I'm a celebrity.
I can appreciate celebrities, but little me.
Well, you
come sign this here.
You're gonna start.
That right there is
some guys like before they get hot and heavy, sign this statement.
No, my pants will drop.
It's not realistic. I mean, I get where
but you gotta start to put on a condom, so you might as well sign the paper.
I'd be going at the door. See ya.
Everybody wants to talk about back end stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about front end stuff.
Nobody wants to interrupt the heat of the moment.
The post was the post. The post didn't say the girl was on birth control and it didn't work. The post didn't say they were using a condom and the condom broke or the condom fell off, whatever else we want to imagine to throw some other kind of spin on the situation. The post was, if you're dating someone and the female gets pregnant and the guy says he doesn't want to have the kid, should he have to pay child support? And I said no. I don't think so. We're forcing him to be a father when he says he doesn't want to. Now, front end work means this is a conversation we should have before we even start having sex. Before we even start having raw sex, before I even allow you to start shooting shots at me, we should be discussing what happens if X, Y, Z.
Keep it real because condoms break. Be like,
no, we're having raw sex. You're shooting your shot. We're planning to have a baby. That's what. That's how sex is. That's how it works.
That's
what it was meant for.
Right.
So if we're doing that,
well, there's a reason why they told us to wait till marriage.
Okay, and then after, let's say you got carried away and just one night. Okay, ready to oh shit, you know what?
I got the race car.
My leg, I didn't mean to, but so the thing said, I'm gonna talk to you. Okay, so if I'm pregnant, what do you want to do?
You still have 72 hours to run down to pharmacy.
So someone tried to tell me that $40 is expensive.
$40?
Because I said we'll get Plan B.
Man, I will take you. I'll buy you two.
How about
Plan 80?
Like, if the sex is that good, guys, buy up yourself a few months of
Some people can't afford $40.
No, but you can get that on
72 hours.
You 72 hours to find
Some people can.
No, but there are places you can go and get it for free. This is Toronto.
I'll rob a
Canada.
fucking bank.
So then
you can
everybody has
even go to your family doctor and get a prescription.
If you can't find $40 in 72 hours, I don't know if you're ready to have kids.
No, you're not.
You're not ready now.
You should not be having kids.
Is $40 the same price as having a kid?
I can find $42.42.
Especially if you understand what having that child is going to cost you down the road.
I will find it. I will hustle somebody.
If I needed to pawn my phone, I'd pawn my phone.
Just for a day, just to get that shit.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
you pawn your phone?
I would pawn my phone.
If you didn't want the child,
if I'm serious, if I slept with somebody,
so if you're in dire straits and whatever, so for the risk of not being pregnant.
This is cheaper than a child for 18 years.
I know,
mentally,
so you do that now.
Physically, psychologically, financially. This is not the same price as a child. Let's call apples apples and oranges. People give people a pass to be irresponsible too many times in this society. Somebody kills somebody, oh, you know what, I had a mental break. And then they go to court and they're not criminally responsible. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Unless you have a diagnosed mental health issue and you're off your meds or didn't know that you have the issue, don't use this shit as a pass.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times people do abuse actual situations that have, like, people take it as a precedent now. Do you know what I mean? Like, they take it as a precedent. Personally, if I were in that situation and I did not want the child, or I came to the understanding that the man did not want the child, if in my own convictions I knew that I was going to carry on with that child against his will, in my mind, he's dead to me financially.
Yes.
But if I know I laid down and I made that child and I went to somebody and said, this is a situation, like, yo, I think that, you know, we might have messed up, and the person says, yo, you know what, let's just see how it goes, let's just try to make this work. Well, when that baby comes, you didn't enforce to me and make it clear to me you didn't want the child when you had a certain time window to say so. So,
I don't want to say what.
Yeah, and if he made it clear to me he didn't want the child, I wouldn't even bother looking his way for money. I'd be like, okay, I'm good.
But you're entitled to the money.
Okay, but even though I am, like, okay, even though I am, okay, right now there's certain things I'm entitled to at work, but I don't want to run down my boss for it. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're entitled to go get it, though.
Not in every situation.
You know what? If you're told to know from the start,
and not in every situation,
I will take it. But you're not getting access. You're not seeing my child. You're not sending gifts. You're not doing fucking anything. I'm letting you.
Sometimes what you get
almost like a restraint.
Hold on. So saying that now. So what if later, you know, you change your mind?
Later, it doesn't matter.
So my kid's 5 now. I'm like, you know what? A kid ain't so bad. I grow up.
Beat it.
You know what I mean?
No, man. Come back when your child's 18.
No, it applies to the same law.
You can't beat it. So you're gonna stop me to see my kid when
I'm come back when you're 18.
So you're gonna stop me to see my kid. 5 years later, I know
I'm not stopping you from seeing your kid, but I'm not gonna let you tell me if you don't shit, I don't eat. I'm gonna make sure I can afford my kid whether or not you can afford it.
I made a mistake.
But what I won't let you do is come in and out, because that's gonna fuck with my kid.
Yeah, you can't come.
And if you do that in and out shit,
but that's what I'm saying. I grew up now. You gotta be ready to commit.
So what about the parent that gives up their child? Even the mother gives up her child at birth, and then like, you know, 5-10 years later, she, I don't know, won the lottery. She got her shit together. She can't go back and see that kid.
Your child has a new life. Listen, you can't screw up your child over your life has changed.
Right, you can't.
Your child's 18,
wait till your child's 18.
When you sign over your child, I believe there's a clause where
there is.
They won't even tell you where your birth parents
are
until you're 18.
But that's the way it should be. The same law should be the same way for a man. He just gave up his child for adoption to the mother of the child.
It's the same thing with surrogacy. I was offered $1,000 to be a surrogate.
Wow.
So, and I didn't, because
I wouldn't give you my charity.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
$80,000.
$80,000 US to be a surrogate.
I couldn't do it.
And I couldn't do it for many reasons. But some of the contract information that I was sent when I was asked, I was like, my embryo or your embryo? Because that's going to make a world of difference. You know, if that's my embryo, then the rules change. You know what I mean? So when it comes back to this whole thing with a man and a woman making a child, he can sign his rights away and then come back and say, yo, but I was under duress, or I was under a period of temporary insanity. I want my child back.
Right.
There's so many different things at play that this issue will never be black and white.
Speaking of surrogate, like,
never be black and white.
To be a surrogate.
Are they still looking? Because I'm fertile.
I believe that family has closed that chapter in their life. Yeah, I believe they have.
With being a surrogate.
Kimberly,
that's hold on. Being a surrogate.
You want to go line up for stuff? Look here, we have a volunteer, Kimberly. He's very fertile. That one. You're just
going to sign a contract first.
Hold on. Back to the surrogate thing. Sorry. that's a touchy subject, but me honestly as a man, to have a surrogate, I'm fine with it because it's my seed, whatever. Yeah. But I feel it for the woman who's not,
whose egg it can't be her egg.
Yeah, whose eggs it can't be. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, you know.
But if it's the surrogate's egg, you're technically buying a child. That's the part that I'm like.
See, I don't
no, but it's my.
Did we put a quantum on that?
He's saying that the man is okay with it, but it's not the woman because it's not even her child.
We're playing.
The woman is not
if it's the partner's egg, that's different.
Yeah. But
if it's the surrogate's egg, like you're paying me for one of my kids.
No, see, I see it differently.
Let's hear
this. If I have my own kids,
yeah.
I will donate my eggs because literally, not to be gross, it's a period. I'm not having that child.
Right.
So why would I give up the right of these people who have been trying for how many years? They're going to love that little thing. They're going to bring it up. They're going to have the best Christmases. They're going to have the best life. Why would I not give someone that opportunity? However, I have no kids, so I wouldn't do it currently. If I had my own kids and I'm happy, fair enough. But to me, it's going to be a period. Why would I just let it go?
That's an interesting perspective.
Waste it away for these
we
people.
shed it every month, and someone else can have a life out of it.
But someone is going to treat that little thing the best they'll ever be treated, probably better than I can treat my own kids.
Right.
They're going to give it the life, the opportunity, and I'm going to waste it away. First of all, I wouldn't want it anywhere in my vicinity. So I'll fly to California, you can take the eggs, whatever. If that's very true. I wouldn't want my own kids.
Does anyone know
this is my new girlfriend. You're like, wait a
biblically,
minute.
is that okay to do?
Well, that's how
different.
I don't think the Bible doesn't speak on this.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't because
selling your
not
kids?
selling your eggs, but wasn't Ishmael a surrogate child?
Yes, but it wasn't for pay.
No, that's okay. The
It was
pay
for
part.
you as a person.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it was to hear. Because when you had a son, that was how you continued your financial legacy. It was for Abraham to continue to make his bloodline flourish financially. It could be that way. It could be. Ishmael was a surrogate.
No, stop.
Ishmael was a surrogate
No
child.
I still have my kids' hair clippings. When they were infants and I filled out their little baby books and I put their hair clippings, I have a 16-year-old. I still have a clipping of her hair that's 16 years old. I still have my kids' teeth.
Yeah.
How am I giving away an egg? This is gonna turn into a person.
It may not though.
But I'm spiritual that way.
Yeah.
That's
Your
a part of me.
It's
once life is incepted into it, that's me. Yeah. That's my continuation. I want to be a part of that.
It's kind of like men that go to sperm banks. So I don't know why I think it's a man that go to sperm banks.
I'm not a man.
I get that, but as me, it's like. I don't know. I just think that if my sister came to me and said, "Be a surrogate,"
I would
without a heartbeat, because
sure, that's within the family. If my sister needed my egg, by all means.
If it was my brother,
that's my family. I would think I would.
If it was my brother, I'd be like, as long as it's your wife's egg or whoever you're pregnant, perfect. Because as long as it's not mine, that's.
You know what? We're thinking about women here. I'm thinking about a man. I could give my sperm.
No, but somebody you can jack off for $10 for a pizza, and you don't know how much empathy you have walking.
I don't know. I feel like her on that.
Because if
I go to a sperm bank, hold on.
You're getting my
Hold on. If I go to a sperm bank, and I put my stuff in there, you know, whatever. Now there's a piece of me out there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But it may not happen.
I have a coworker. She has a child that is from a sperm donor because she has a female partner and they wanted to have a child, so they needed a donor. So she knows that before she had her child, that there are 13 other siblings out there, and that he's got a number of other samples that are available for purchase because his profile is attractive to a certain population of people, right? So her daughter now has this genetic issue that they couldn't place because it doesn't come from her side. Where she can't release her feet. Her feet are like clenched. She's like 6 years old, and she walks on her tippy toes because she can't lay her feet flat. It's some rare genetic disorder that they couldn't find out because that's not something that they test for at the sperm bank, first of all. But she's got 13 other siblings. I don't want to accidentally fuck my brother.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I would go to like California or go to Australia.
It doesn't matter. People travel. Yeah. We're on the internet. People are connected. Yeah. I could have a boyfriend in Afghanistan right now.
You probably do.
I'd be like, listen, who's your mom?
I mean,
and maybe your sperm is worth more in another country where you're considered an eccentricity.
I don't know. Some countries like blue eyes.
One piece at tangents will go fine.
I don't know.
I hear you though. I do. I hear you.
No, I'm just like. I don't know. I just feel like it's a loss for one, and someone else, it's a huge gain.
It's a gift. It's a gift. I hear you.
Because I have a cousin that couldn't have kids naturally, and then they went IVF, and it worked eventually. So I feel like maybe I'm biased on that end.
Honestly, I don't think it's a bias. I just think it's that you are looking at it from another perspective. And when we're in the circle, what I often see is when you have two very polarizing perspectives, it's I'm more right than you are, and you're more wrong than I am. And it's like, the whole meme of I'm standing at a 6 and seeing it as 6, and for you it's a 9. It's just as much a 9 for you as it is a 6 for me. But there has to be some better way that you present your dialogue so that you can still be right and walk away and both be right.
Exactly.
But that is what I'm seeing needs to be more.
Well, you do both walk away right because that's your opinion, right?
But not at the expense of insulting the other person's experience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't like seeing. So, what were we moving on to?
Yeah, let's move.
It was household contributions first. Somebody wanted to talk about you have a partner, and you and your partner are living together.
Okay.
But as the female, you're contributing more financially to the household.
Okay.
Than the man is.
Okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. Honestly.
Tell us why.
Story.
Tell us why.
That wasn't the response I expected. I was
No,
ready.
listen. Hold on. If my wife's successful, that makes me want to be successful too. If I'm already successful and she's better than me, it's not me or her. Our team is successful. We're successful.
You feel like it's going to drive you more to be?
Yeah, it'll drive me more. But even if she's successful, her success is my success. True. That's how it should be. You're one team.
But that's because you see it that way.
If my wife makes $1 million and I make $100K, we're making $1,100,000. That's our team. You know what I'm saying? So
you feel like you're a union. So you're a unit.
It's a unit.
I think these people are feeling divided. Like they're on some.
Any man out there that feels intimidated by a woman that makes more than him, then that's not a man. Like, man up, man. Yes. That's nothing. It's nothing to worry about.
Any other guys who feel this way?
If your ego's hurt, man, you got a problem.
What about the old school guys who it's not about their ego, it's just more their tradition?
No, I might.
Do we have any old school guys in the house who feel like it's their priority? It's always something that matters to them to make sure that if their wife makes $50K, they make $55K? At least?
Listen, can we talk?
That's petty.
Can we talk?
Yeah, I think so.
I want to talk about some stuff because all this sounds great. But can I talk about my experience on this issue?
All right, yeah.
So here's the thing. I have a decent income coming in.
There you go. Congratulations.
I'm okay.
Big ups,
right? God has blessed me, let me tell you.
Praise the Lord.
And I'm not where I need to be because I have that 6-figure goal.
Sweetheart, thank you.
I'm on my way. I'm on pace to be there when I want it to be. So if a man comes into my world, he is not necessarily a necessity financially. He's an addition to what I have.
Exactly. And that's a good thing.
So what's a good thing?
My issue, my experience is, and my issue is, when men get comfortable with this situation,
that's a problem.
So I'm comfortable doing 60-40, 70-30, whatever your finances relate. How do you call it now? I'm not good with math. Where's the math people? Tyler, where you there? How do you call it? Like proportionally?
Yeah.
Proportionately?
Proportionately,
yeah. However your income is proportionate to mine in a fair and equitable way.
Right.
Not equal, but equitable.
There's a huge difference.
I don't mind. But don't be in the situation where the mortgage is due on the 15th. And on the 20th, you're gonna be like, you know what?
Here you go, baby.
I'm like 3 bills short. But I'm good. I'm gonna catch you in like my next paycheck. I'm gonna catch you.
No, that can't fly.
Don't do
because
it.
If you were living on your own, even if you were in a 1-bedroom and your rent was only $500, you still couldn't do that on the first.
Listen,
couldn't do that.
If something happens, I will hold you down the one time. But I want you to tell me on the 13th even. It's due on the 15th. Tell me on the 13th. You know what? It's almost the 15th. I'm probably going to be short. It's the shit that not only are you short, but you've been avoiding me, and now you're late and short. What is this?
No, man, you gotta find out the underlying problem. Why is he short? Why does he have to
Because he knows I can cover it. That was my experience. That's what I think some people wanted to talk about. What they call waste man. No, I'm not calling this
hold on,
but this is what people call waste man.
Okay, so I was briefly married. Don't really want to go too much into that information because, you know, I forget about that part of my life. But I was with a guy who...
Girl, me too. I got much of a reminder.
You guys are laughing, so I'm going to get in trouble for this comment. Clearly already got taxes, but however... I was with a guy who made $5,000 a week. That was his job. I made whatever I make. I'm a bartender. Some of you guys already commented. So I make okay money, you know. But I was married to a guy who made $5,000 a week. The day and hour we signed those papers, he decided, yeah, I don't like my job. He decided not to work. So for a very long time, I paid the bills. I paid the rent. I paid for his weed habit. I paid for anything going on, our household things. Yo, it's not even funny because I'm embarrassed because anyone who knows me knows I'm crazy strong. I'm crazy, you know, very independent. But it is what it is. So I paid for everything going on in our household. And then eventually after a while, I was like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why aren't you working? You made 5 G's a week. Like, not even 1 G, like 5 G's a week. Like,
how long was the fall off?
He was working. Like, he had that job a long time before I met him. I knew him for a long time. And then we got together.
No, I'm saying, how long from the $5,000 left till it was actually a problem?
I swear to God, the day I got married, he decided to quit the job.
So it became a problem,
right? It didn't become a problem. It was like, cool, I got the bills, I got this, I got stuff. You guys don't know I have an accent.
What was his plan? What was he going to do next?
Well, the thing was, not to go on about this, is like, he already had me. I'm his wife. That's how we roll. So I'm extremely stubborn. I work, I do whatever, I pay the bills, I do ABCD. He didn't need to work. You know, he got his weed habit, he got his Xbox in the house. His girl got crazy money coming in. Let's just live on her.
I can't be with a man who can't afford his own.
So, however, I'm here.
Mad. You better grow some, Bridget.
No,
you can't afford your own weed.
So he doesn't grow the weed. He's fucking anyhow on that subject.
No, Bridget. You have weed allowance to blood clot.
Must be nice, yeah.
So anyway, I paid all the bills. I paid everything. I became like whatever. My mom came from Ireland for a visit. And her face was like, I was like, all right, cool. That's fine. So I talked to him. I was like, yo, you need to go to work. He would like not work at all. I made okay money. I was able to support both of us, but it's not the point. And then my sister came from Ireland, and she's like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? She hadn't even got in my house. She hadn't put her luggage in the hallway. She looked at me, and I was like, we're going to Brampton. We got family in Brampton. I left Toronto. I had a house, which was mine. Everything in it, I owned. The forks, the spoons, I owned. So we went to live with my family in Brampton, which are the horrible human being you'll ever meet.
Don't go to Brampton.
They're probably on here. They're probably on here. So anyway, we go here, and yeah, it just went snowball. So my sister went on a plane back to Ireland. Her look on her face was honestly, guys, priceless. Like you'll never even understand it. And I was like, fuck this. I stayed in Brampton, and I'm back gradually getting where I am. I get a divorce on the 22nd of November, which is great. But don't ever let no guy do that on you. You know, I'm the biggest, stubborn, most independent person in my life. Anybody who knows me knows that I drive a nice car, I have a nice house, I do all that on my own. And don't ever let a guy use you that way. It's really hard. And
okay. Wait, hold on. What about now on the flip side? So I make more than my wife or your girlfriend or whatever. Mm-hmm. So is it all right for her to just chill and not want to do better? Really. It happens. I've been in a relationship like that.
Absolutely.
Where you're making the money and then she's like comfortable in that spot.
Is that the setup that you provided though?
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right.
So we see problematic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. We create an environment.
But you can't just say it's the women paying for the man and man, you know, whatever. Women do it too.
I can own it. That's what I'm saying. I created an environment that allowed my ex-husband to get comfortable.
No, but
because he knew.
You're saying you're the woman who makes more, whatever. But there's men out there with women who make less, going through the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
But you should know where you should know your worth realistically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel sorry for any guy. Like I have a current guy who's great, but I even feel sorry for him because you know what? He gets away with fucking nothing. You know, he gets nothing. I'm on him, and like he gets stuck with the stuff that other people have done on me. Mm-hmm. But at the same point, it's like I will always be like my house, my rules, my car, my this, my that. I'll never need nobody, and it's a horrible way to be. So if anyone is in that situation,
I understand the situation. Sometimes you need people, man. You don't need somebody. I'm the type of person. I need things. I need a hug. I need a rub on my head. I need these things. You know what I'm saying?
You need somebody who.
Snuggy Duggy.
I know that Snuggy Duggy's DM has been popping.
Yeah. Snuggy Duggy, I get some DM. Whoa.
It goes down in the DM.
Yeah. Me, I love my peace, man. Like I prefer to be single, and if someone's gonna disturb that peace, if you're not an addition to my life, then fuck off.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I've been in a situation where I allowed my ex to feel comfortable missing because I could cover things. You know what I mean? And then when I started getting upset about it, it's because I felt like I was being taken advantage of. So did I partially create that situation? For sure. But did he manipulate that situation? 100% he did. You know what I mean? So I accept what I brought to that situation.
Yeah.
Does it allow me to treat him any other way? Does it allow me to not respect him as much? And that was part of the dialogue that was happening in that thread, where it's like, you know, the black man gets beaten up outside, and then he comes home to his woman that makes more money, and he's beaten up by his woman verbally.
But if she's rubbing it in his face, and that's fucked up too.
It is, but where does that come from?
From her.
Tanika. Mua here.
I know.
Yeah.
I was ordering food. I'm gonna want to tap over your car, and then you're not gonna grow.
I want to hear your thoughts.
So, are we talking about when, black women and black men tear down one another? Are we talking about the whole a black man can't oppress?
No, we're talking about
a black woman comment.
That's what you're talking about. No, we're talking about where the woman makes more than the man.
Oh, and when she take your tail,
she emasculates him.
So she goes on the road and gets beat. You know, work hard, comes home, and has to get beat by her.
No,
I don't see it like that. Because no girl can beat me. I don't know, man.
Here's the thing.
Verbal beatings. That's what the commenter was saying.
I feel like society has miseducated a lot of young black women coming up. Here's what I think happened. There was a time where we talked about what we saw our parents doing in terms of staying in marriages that they may not have stayed in had it been 20 years ago, 20 years today. I think that what happened is for new immigrants coming in, when we had to come in as a family and our parents were coming in and we're seeing that it was harder for our husbands to get the same job as the Jewish guy who was less qualified, we became frustrated because, well, at the end of the day, nursing was in demand and everybody loved a big black mammy who can feed all the people in the nursing home, and there was no shortage of work for black women.
And who would work the hours that nobody else wanted to work.
The caretakers, right? So at the end of the day, work was always more available to the black nurturing female prototype than it was to the skilled trade black man.
True.
So what I feel like happened is our parents were born in a time where there were many times where our fathers were working seasonal work. Mm-hmm. And on top of working long hours and being treated like a slave, because let's not face it, before my mom became a nurse, she worked in the long-term care facilities. And I mean, the racism, like you had people who couldn't even wipe their ass and they're telling her, nigger, come wipe my ass. Wow. So she has to be dealing with this shit, being the primary breadwinner, because my dad's work was seasonal. And then on top of it, when you come home and the man is not dealing well with the fact that he can't provide and he's frustrated and he's taking it out in the wrong way because he has nobody to turn to in society and he's taking it out the wrong way, then you have basically, you know, the fighting begins at home. And then you have her reminding him, yo, if I don't shit, you don't yap. How do I know this? I watched it. Okay, I've seen it happen time and time again. So I think that what it comes down to is our women understanding that, yes, Black men cannot, will always have to work twice as hard for his white counterpart in the same industry. But in that regard, if we're doing his best and he's still not bringing in what he could potentially bring in, I don't think that's the time to beat him down. And this goes for all races. I don't think it's just Black women. I think that I'm trying to intertwine topics here. But what I'm saying is, if you have your woman, if you have a man, like right now, I would never look at my man and say, oh, because you may not be earning more than me in this season, I'm going to put you down, because I know how much he's capable of doing. Suppose this is not his time. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I know what he has the capacity to bring in. So, I mean, anybody's as healthy as you are, you're one fall down the stairs away from an injury where your partner is the one who's the primary breadwinner. So I feel like there's just a little bit of humor. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like
with the breadwinner stuff, like my situation right now, like I'm the primary, but we're building, and eventually she's gonna be the primary.
But it's like a relay.
That's what we're building. It's like a relay. And then one day something's gonna happen, and then I'll be the primary, and it's just going. That's how it's gonna be.
There's gonna be times in your relationship where your partner says, "No, baby, this is all you. Run it." And then the next person's going to say, you know what? But I think it comes down to attitude, as I left off where Lisa was saying. If you have a person that's just comfortable cocking up them foot and taking, I might snap on you. I might tell you. I might remind you that if I don't shit, you don't eat. Because if you're deciding for yourself that if I don't shit, you don't eat, I'm just telling you what you already know, which is if I don't shit, you don't eat. So if I'm more motivated by a man who's going to say, listen, baby, I may not be making all what I want to make right now, but okay, right now, do you guys see Tumpus? Where's Tumpus?
Tumpus is around.
Right. So at the end of the day, if Tumpus isn't earning what he feels he should be earning, he's saying, babe, you know, I want this promotion and I really want to earn, I'm not going to knock him down. I rate the fact that he's out there and he's not sitting down somewhere looking for a handout. Do you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you have to look at effort. I always say, I would give somebody an E for effort versus an A for ability. Because the man who's able may not be doing all that he could be doing versus the man who's putting in all of his effort. I rate that more than people who have a natural ability.
Right.
Because effort matters more to me than I'm naturally talented. There's things I could do effortlessly, and I could shit sprinkles out in this area and it takes nothing from me. I wouldn't expect anybody to rate me for that because it takes no effort. But if it took a whole lot of effort, then I have to rate it. I don't agree with putting down your partner because you're making more than them. I really don't. I think if their contributions are proportionate to what they're bringing in, meaning had you not been there and they were renting a room, whatever means that they would be living in, they would have been contributing that much. If they're doing their best and you're saying, okay, you're not going to contribute 100%, the goal is to build. So if you would have spent 75% of your monthly income on household expenses, I'm not going to ask you for 75% because the whole goal is to build. Otherwise, why are you living with me? You might as well go live somewhere else. I might say, let's see what 60 could do, so we can all each put away an extra 15% of our monthly income so we can have that. You know, that's the way I would do it. Because I'm all about making, if we're going to live together, we better be in a better position.
Relay. I do the relay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do the relay, you know. And I make more, she makes. It doesn't matter who makes it, man. It's coming. Team Edwards is getting paid.
Coming into the same
Team
household.
Edwards is getting paid.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a little traditional. Am I a little too old school on that?
I'm a little bit traditional too, but I will go with the times, right?
I was brought up differently.
Like you need two incomes. I would love to have a wife that stays home and takes care of the house. That's the way I was raised, right?
Mind you, when you do stay at home, if I could swing back to my little child support rant the other day, when you do stay at home as one of the partners in the home, you increase the other person's earning capacity, especially when there's children involved. Because had the two of you been out of the house, yes, Lisa, grab your chips, daycare would have been involved. You wouldn't be able to go out there and work those 12 and 15-hour shifts if you didn't have somebody at home. Right. So if one partner stays at home, you are actually increasing the income and earning capacity.
Yeah, money is not the only way to contribute.
Exactly. You're reserving you don't have to pay for $1,700 to $1,900 a month in childcare. You don't have to pay for, you can all have one car and your wife could drop you to work and pick you up, or your husband and vice versa. You don't have to have payments and insurance on 2 cars. Your wife could be at home, and while she's at home saving you all that daycare money, she could be taking in 2 extra kids and bringing in an extra money.
And you use your strength and your strengths and your weaknesses, you know?
Being a stay-at-home partner is not always cock up your foot and just scratch. Like, you could take in a homestay or, you know, a foster program or whatever. There's stuff you can do at home to bring in an income. You're saving money and you're bringing in an income.
Thank you.
When I was I have 14 foster kids in 6 years. I was always at capacity. I never had a free bed. I made sure that if I was going to stay at home, I was earning something.
I admire people who are able to do this in their partnership, but I don't feel comfortable personally staying home and not adding to the house.
Thank you.
Because there's only financially.
Just financially.
I need to contribute, not just physically, because I'm home, right? I can cook, I can clean, I can take care of the kids. That's no problem. That's soft, right? But I should be contributing financially also, not just because I'm home. If we don't learn how to make money when we sleep, we're always going to be friggin' poor. You see what I'm saying? So if I need to have a little internet business, you can make what you want to make. I still need to be able to contribute. Because at the end of the day, when we're 65, you're the only person who's getting a pension.
Right. Thank you.
I don't know if we can live off your pension alone. It really depends what your income is. So if you're making that 200 G's, yeah, we can afford to live off your pension. But if you're only making 80 G's
you gotta save it.
or 150 G's, we're only living off what you're getting, which is going to be like, what, $1,200 a month? You make your income and take care of us now. I should be making my own income and stacking them chips so that when we retire, we can live at the same level that we're used to.
That's why you do
if my kids need a money and I'm in my 80s, I'm like, yo, B, here's a 5Gs.
To me,
my grandkid is graduating from university. Here's a 5Gs. Put this on something.
That's what
here's a 10Gs.
Things can work.
I should be able to do that.
Things can work when both parties want to contribute.
Exactly.
Financially, just all around. That's what I was saying.
That's even better. More the merrier.
Yeah.
I can't do nothing. I don't know how to just do nothing. I don't know how to just do nothing. I have 2 jobs. I've had 2 jobs for 14 years. Like, I don't know how to work just one job. I'm so bored after. I need to always be doing something. What were you saying?
No, I was saying my aunt has paid her whole life to pay, like, she lives in a really nice house and she's been paying her whole life as a mortgage. And now she's trying to downsize. But she's going to pay the exact same mortgage. So right now she's like mortgage free, but she's going to have a mortgage if she downsizes for a condo in Brampton. So it scares me a little bit because, first of all, I'm not from Canada, so I don't really know a lot about here. But, like, to me, it's like I'm paying all these years as a mortgage. Like, my aunt's in her 60s, so she's paid 40 years as a mortgage to be left needing a mortgage for a condo.
What she should do is invest in a consultant, get somebody to come and do some upgrades.
No, I know that, but her house is, like, phenomenal. But because it's in Brampton and when she wants to leave, her kids are further on out. So she wants to go to Oakville or Burlington, and it's like, you kind of buy a condo with what you're paying currently.
But that shouldn't be.
So in Brampton, she can live mortgage free, but she wants to move. She's going to have a mortgage.
That wouldn't be. Like, if I'm selling my house, I'm making money.
It depends on where she's going to. If she's going
if you don't know what to do, don't do it. Ask somebody. Ask somebody.
So to me, it's like you have to look at it and not. I don't know what she's done through her life, but like as far as I'm aware, she hasn't remortgaged that house. She hasn't done nothing.
A lot of her older generation never asked questions.
They didn't.
It's true.
They just listen to the
bank.
Yeah.
They listen to the bank.
They followed their friends. They did what they
my parents.
They were supposed to.
When my dad goes to the bank to deposit, he puts on his clothes, you know.
Yeah.
Old school.
That's
just the pin, whatever, you know. But with the check, with a written check. He goes and looks nice to the bank and says, "Yeah, Mr.
Deposit."
You know why though? He goes, "You want hey, Mr. Edwards? You want stuff? Hey, Mr.
You want that when you want that a cologne that they're like, yeah, man, Mr. Edwards. You know what I mean?
I haven't been to a bank in now.
I do a drive-through and put my check in the drive-through. I don't even see nobody.
Yeah, it's different now.
It's different now.
I'm always on my phone. Everything's tech. I can deposit my checks through the phone.
I still think it works though. I'm knowledgeable. I drive around the drive-through.
All right. Okay.
What does everybody want to talk about?
We gotta do the weekly recap. No?
I want to hear what people want to talk about. That's not the recap?
Honestly, the weekly recap is like usually was any nonsense was happening in the circle.
Oh, damn, we're there. We get to have fun now.
I need calls now because honestly, I don't know what's
Tell me about the mix-up.
Yeah, what's going on in this? Julie, any mix-up? Julie, where that?
Hi,
Any mix-up?
I saw things still.
You did?
I did.
What did you see?
Who was on the money post?
Whoa, ladies night. It was ladies night.
I'm like,
wow. I staggered. I'm like,
Julie.
do not open this if you're at work.
I got like 5 minutes and it got deleted.
the buddy post, yo.
Yo, you guys are crazy.
We saw
You
an
know what?
ombre buddy
Hey,
though.
hey, we do it
The
too.
buddy was ombre, guys.
What?
You know what?
And we had like
clap
3 different colors.
There was a
Ombre
variety of buddy
Ombre
too.
buddy. It
Okay,
went like
you
from
had your-
brown to
Doug,
blonde.
It had many color striations, but there was buddy in there that was like average size. There was large size. There was extendo team. Like you have to start from the back of the room to see where the penis is. It's like when your mouth comes down your belly.
What?
There was this one. No, there was like 4 peen in there. Who posted these ones? The navel orange
He
peen.
posted
Oh, you're just gonna call her out like that? Wow.
But they be
The
sending
navel
her
orange peen. Who saw the navel peen? Whose peens were those? Because those were supposed to be from Circle Men. So talk up.
Who owns the ombre buddy? Ombre buddy owner.
I don't want to know. These girls want to know.
I'm glad I missed that post.
Ombre buddy.
Everyone got fucking love Lisa. I can
No,
tell.
but it legit had 3 different colors, guy.
You tagged me?
You know what? You know what's not fair? I can't even say like, yo, I'm gonna make a men's night post. That just sounds, that sounds.
It doesn't work. So let us live. Can we live? Can we live though?
Sound right.
Where's Cassandra?
Ladies'
Can
night.
we live?
Ladies' night sounds nice.
Yeah,
but,
the girls will.
I think you guys got it
Big up to
confused.
Cassandra.
You
She's
guys got
awesome.
it confused.
Shout out to Cassandra. Way you
Yeah,
down.
Cassandra, you're one of my favorites, sweetheart.
Way you down.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
That was fun.
What are the
Yeah,
mix up?
definitely.
Yeah, welcome to
This
Freaky
week-
Friday.
This week had kind of quieted
Thank you
down.
for
It
asking
was
early.
rather hot.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys, to the new people who are coming in, you might see these little peaks and valleys every now and again. And you might have come in on a lit week, and then all of a sudden it calms down, and you're like, "Yo, this place is dead." And it's not that it's dead; it's just that we're coming down off of a really hot week. I think everybody just sometimes needs to regroup. So I feel like this week in the circle, as much as I felt like I missed a lot, I feel like for the most part, everybody was able to manage themselves well. Last week we had a lot of housekeeping to do.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys for being able to articulate yourselves well enough without, becoming ignorant.
Some people,
did.
because I did see some ignorance.
There
stuff pop
was
off.
the child support post was ignorant. Let's just
So
talk
you know
about
what?
it.
Everyone
But,
has
I mean,
different
for the most
opinions
part,
on it, so it's
We
not.
didn't have to out too many fires.
No.
No, you're saying.
I'm just saying. I just think there's some ignorance, but there's other
Yes.
times there isn't. It's just your opinion, and we don't always classify it as ignorant just because we don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know.
Any other posts, Lisa?
I forget.
Ladies'
now
night.
because it's
I forget which one was
Lisa's
going.
the best at this.
Are we talking about
No,
people
we need
taking
Julie.
conflict out of our group into
Julie.
other people? Are we talking about that?
Julie,
What?
talk the things. Oh, you know what? I
Yeah.
did peep some threatening about some screenshots. Okay,
Mm.
so
Yeah. I
not
heard
that I'm not trying to misconstrue how the post was written. Okay, the post was something along the lines of like they don't get why people screenshot stuff from this group and share it with people with other group. Let me tell you something, people that are fuckery.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
screenshot shit from this group and share it in other groups. I don't care if this was on the agenda to talk or not. I don't have to like me. Like me said more than once before, I fuckery. You don't have to like me for telling you. I'm always, if you're fucking up, I'm always going to tell you if you're fucking up. That's me. And get my ass in the hot water all the motherfucking time. But it is what it is. It's not cool because it could be you next time.
This is the thing. How do you know that you're not going to have a bad moment and someone's going to take that and send it to somebody?
Exactly.
And it could be a detriment to you.
That's why you got.
Look what happened to Mr. Samuels and him Air Canada job where him did take a fling style on people. Okay, somebody sent that. You don't know who people know.
All of a sudden,
You know what
man
I'm
don't
saying?
have a job.
Hey,
Yeah.
And all them
So,
snitch thing. Whoa, the screenshots are one thing, but all them snitch things.
Yeah.
Sorry, finish saying what you're saying. Come on, talk to the snitch.
I just feel like at the end of the day, if I'm in many communities, I don't take what's going on in one community and try to interject it into another community. What I'm in that community for, I go there and I get it. And I go to other different communities for different things. Would you want to take your family's dirty laundry and go air it out in the street? You probably wouldn't. So why would you want to do it here? At the end of the day, anything that happens in here, as an admin team, we can't be we can't own everything everybody says and does. You guys are your own people. But at the end of the day, just think about if it was yourself, would you want that? I don't rate it. I think it's kind of weak. Like, I feel like it's a weak thing.
I feel like
if you have to go outside to crutch up yourself on that crutch of validation to say, hey, there's drama in this group, let's dissect that over here, then I feel like over there doesn't really have enough to talk about.
How is that?
To me personally,
I feel like over there doesn't have valid.
When people screenshot, I agree, it's all of that. But me too, I'm a man, I don't hide on top. So anything I say, anywhere,
that's me.
But then just say it. But they're not coming back in the
Oh,
circle
man.
and saying, by the way, I screenshotted this and I took it over here and here's why. They're not saying that. It's all coming back under the quiet. They're not coming in saying, yes, I did it and here's why. I haven't seen it. Have I missed it?
But how is
Has
that?
anybody done that?
You know what, guys?
What's going on?
It's like, would you like your stuff screenshotted and sent to somebody else?
No, nobody would.
You know, no one does.
But
like,
I'm not afraid of my words.
Yeah, but why are you like people who are either left the group or who have been removed from the group for certain reasons? If you want to be that loyal to them, delete our group and away you go.
Yeah, pick it, just decide
Like,
and done.
There's other groups out there.
And it's almost like you want to have your cake and eat it too.
Do your thing.
Here's the thing. Even though, Jason, I hear what you're saying is you don't hide on top. Anything anybody screenshot, you can back it up because you said it coming from a place of logic. Here's the thing. Just because you can stand behind what you say, it doesn't mean that the person's intentions are pure. There's no pure intention that you can have in capturing and freezing in time a segment of a conversation and going over and dismantling and dissecting it when that person's not there, in there with you, who you're sharing it with, to say, here's why I said this. What you're basically doing is you're picking and choosing the points that you want to be able to highlight and shadow of what that person said. That person's not in there to be able to say, yeah, I said it, and this is why I meant it. You know, do that shit in here, screenshot it and send it to the person and say, you said this and I don't rate it. Can we talk? But when you take it outside, you take away their ability to stand up for or back away from what they said. That's some coward shit. I don't fucking rate you for that.
I have a little dose of reality.
And if I say anything about anything, you are 100% back my ground. You want to take it out.
Give me the opportunity.
Hit my DM.
Give me the opportunity.
I may explain why I thought a certain way, or maybe like, you know what? It is what it is. But you guys go into different groups and, oh, I'm your bestie. This is what the circle said.
You don't even have a chance to say.
You guys forget we have people who tell us shit. There's people who are always wanting to, yo, this is what was said about you guys.
Yeah.
Yo,
you realize how big this circle is?
Yo, this is all baby stuff.
Do you realize how big the circle is? Do you know how many members we have in the circle? We got 4G members. How many people are in Toronto and how many members do we have in the circle?
3,500.
Think of every member of the circle because there's over 3,500 of you. For you to screenshot and think that the person that you're screenshotting and chatting isn't going to find out so you talk about them, you're mistaken. Because I don't even have many people that I deal with on that level in the circle, and I hear your business.
Right?
We all do.
So if you think the person that you're talking about isn't hearing that you're talking about them, you're mistaken. It might not be a pull-up situation, but one day they might just have something that they've been saving on you. And you see when the receipts start flying, you go shame. Okay,
no,
so do unto others what you want them to do.
Bottom line, I think that's what it really just comes down to. If you wouldn't want to be put on trial without you being present to be able to stand on the stand yourself and testify, don't do that to others. Like, you basically, what you're doing by screenshotting is putting someone on trial without their lawyer or themselves to be able to say anything to support that. That's a weak. Like, I can't respect you.
And you're a snitch, B.
Like, I can't respect you.
You're a fucking snitch.
Hold on.
I can't respect that.
Sometimes a screenshot needed.
Oh,
I have screenshots. No, I have hundreds of screenshots.
Police.
You guys don't have screenshots. I'm not disseminating them out of the circle.
Going out of the circle and taking it to chat the person in the screenshot with. Okay, can we just take this opportunity to talk about context? One thing that has been pissing me the fuck off with this group this week is context. Everybody likes to pick and choose what they want to. It's like Operation, when you want to pick a bone here and pick a bone here and pick a bone there and then all of a sudden and you're frightened. You fucking know what Operation is. At a certain point you're going to get the shock.
Yes.
So don't be picking and and picking and choosing, and don't expect somebody to one way say, this isn't going to work this week, okay? This context. There's nothing wrong with asking somebody, what do you mean?
Clarification, please.
What do you mean? This whole, oh my God, this is what I think you mean, and I'm just going to get the whole fucking Red Cross in, and we're going to start a crusade on what I think you mean.
I'm going to write a thesis.
Like, come on now, guys. Like, it's just...
I haven't asked you. I haven't clarified that this, in fact, what I'm receiving is in fact what you're sending. But I'm gonna write you a thesis to tell you how your opinion is fuckery. When I'm saying, I appreciate what Tanika's saying. What I'm saying is, I'm entitled to my opinion. I shouldn't have to tell you in 5-7 responses why my opinion is what it is, because it already is what it is.
And if
I try to be clear and concise when I provide my responses. If you have questions, I don't mind expanding. But why am I feeling like I have to defend my position? You don't have to believe what I believe.
Stop taking it so serious.
I don't have to believe what you believe.
But at the end of the day, if you don't understand, instead of beating someone down for what you don't understand, here's the thing. You can either decide to say, hey, I don't understand and I don't want to understand, or I don't understand and I want to understand, and then you take the steps necessary to understand, which is ask questions.
Try to see
okay, but you can't have it both ways. You can't straddle the fence of I don't understand and I don't want to understand, but I'm gonna piss on you because I don't understand.
You can choose.
Like, decide already. Just decide. How hard can it be?
We all got DMs.
I want to fuck with you. I don't want to fuck with you. I do want to fuck with you. Let me find out how I get to know how to fuck with you. It's that simple.
Some people are just.
It's not that complicated.
Some
Like,
people
it's
just have
not
time.
that complicated.
Some people just have time.
It's
I challenge people to change my perspective. I like it.
You know what? I like people to change my perspective.
What do you drink?
You have something.
Water. I love when people can open my eyes.
That suits me too. No, honestly, like there's someone who wants to be in my DM, let's go. It's right there. You guys don't know who I am.
I had an exchange with somebody in the group. I don't know if you're watching. You know who you are. Respect my man. Okay, so it's a male. He came into my DM after this heated exchange, and we had a real dialogue on what I wanted the actual dialogue in group to be. He and I were able to exchange on that in the DM, because I find that in the group, people love hype up the fuckery.
They do. And
there's a miscommunication, and there's a miscommunication, and two people are dialoguing, but then there's a third person egging on the conversation, turning it into something negative when the two people could make progress if it was just an A and B conversation. This group, this isn't T.Wire. This isn't Black Planet.
No, it's true.
And like, it's not any of those other groups that you're in. We're different. As Tanika said last week, we're a community. So if two people don't understand each other and they're trying to come to an understanding, you coming in with your 2 cents and your bad mind and your this and that and rate, I don't rate that. Sorry, guys, go ahead.
No, but honestly, if you guys have an issue with anything we say, we all have DMs, hit it up.
Because at the end of the day, we're human too. And anybody can have a bad day. This is why I don't think there's ever been a week in the 8 weeks where we haven't stressed. Listen, as much as people might look up to us to steer the ship, we are just as human. And if we need some sort of perspective expansion, once you come with respect, I'm willing to hear anything anybody has to say. But when you come with the disrespect, I can't hear you, because you're not coming with logic. You're not coming with insight. So at the end of the day, if you have an issue with a member and it can be resolved, do your best to resolve it. I saw a situation this week where someone mistook someone's sarcasm. After hearing perspective from one person, they weren't hearing it. I definitely felt the need to interject after a certain point and say, okay, here's a refreshing option that you might not have considered. How about just ask a question?
Right.
The person responded differently. That just showed me that you coming into a situation, you can have an influence on whether it goes left or right. Because had I come in and said, okay, I'm just going to 100% defend one side without even explaining why I feel like I support this logic as opposed to that logic, then it would have just been that quote unquote, what we said last week, mob mentality. If you're coming in and you're standing up and you're supporting somebody, why not articulate your logic as to why you stand up and support that argument? Don't just come in and incite drama just because you agree with them. Why don't you come in and say, hey, This is what I see. You know, how about you try and turn your head 45 degrees to the side and see if you don't see something different than what you see. Not necessarily if you see what I see, but turn your head 45 degrees and see if you don't see something different. The whole idea is to teach each other. You know, if you're not coming in to add anything of value, then like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there's a whole heap of other groups out there for that. We're not a group, we're a community.
Yeah.
If you're not coming in to build, then bye.
Bye, Felicia.
There's going to be 100 more yous lining up waiting for approval next week.
Tamika Jarrett sent a topic request, and I don't want to overpass it. I don't want to glimpse over it like we weren't going to talk about it. It was on the list for today, but we're pushing time. And to be quite honest, I want there to be more men here for that topic, because I consider myself a womanist. And there's people in the group who might consider themselves feminists. And I want to unpack completely. It was Tamika, and there was a brother she was talking to.
Joseph somebody.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Oh, my memory. Gosh. And he's in the
Joe
Hoskins.
Right.
It was Joe Hoskins. I want you both to tune in. I'm hoping next week we can do it. That topic, it has so many layers to it. It was like an onion. I don't want to just glimpse over it. I know that we talked a little bit about some of the things that you talked about, but Tamika had great topics. She had great comments, and so did Joe, about the Black male and Black female perspective and how we relate to each other and how feminism has impacted
and how
our ability to relate. PTSD,
oh my God, 400 years
and
of
systemic issues and slavery. Like, we can't just in 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
That has to be a show in itself.
I just want to give that the time that it deserves, because I rate each of you and your perspectives and how you brought it. And you know what I loved? Reading that exchange between the two of them.
They were so respectful.
They were so respectful.
It was an intellectual, actual debate. And it wasn't an insult. And it was like listen, brother, I respect this, but I'm going to challenge you to look at this. And listen, sister, I enjoyed reading that exchange. When I was finally getting caught up, I was like, yo, like, if there's ever an example of how to say, hey, I'm asking you to come up higher. That was a very fluid exchange. Like, that's honestly, I was impressed.
Not to say that they were pulling things back. They weren't holding jabs, y'all. Y'all go through the subthreads. It's on Compass's poll.
But it wasn't
whether or not a man should have to pay child support. They were issuing blows at each other, like hard, cold facts. Yeah. But nothing was disrespectful. Everything was said from a place of education on, this is my position while I respect yours. And so I rate you too. Yeah. If there actually was a Circle MVP award, I would say it was a tie this week. But since there's not, I'm sorry. Since there's not, I'm just mentioning the fact that I would give it to you guys if there was.
I agree. That was well done. Kudos to both of you for demonstrating how you can disagree, and you disagree with the intention to learn more from the other perspective, as opposed to, I'm going to disagree just to maintain why I disagree. That's maturity, and I rate both of you for that. And these are the kind of dialogues that encourage us to have more dialogues like this. That conversation could have gone in such a way that ended that topic, and no more is that conversation going to be happening.
I find some people,
shout out to you.
Some people, they're not compatible. It just doesn't work.
That's fine. Them two clearly weren't compatible in terms of their life experiences.
But certain people, you know, you're not going to see eye to eye no matter what you do. Even if you come intellectually, it's still going to go left.
Yeah, that's a very high level. Like, they got into some nitty-gritty issues.
How many people are on that high level?
No, not as many. But this is why that those of you who have it in you, why we need you to rise up and make sure that you counterbalance the fuckery. Yeah. Because it's always, the burden is always more on those who can than those who cannot. You know what I mean? So for those of you who know how to do that, and those of you who've ever felt that you could but weren't sure how, take a page out of this book, because there'll always be about 1,500 of the other agitators that come in. So when you're able to do it this way, make sure that you set that as a standard to say, you know what, going forward, anytime I have a disagreement with anybody, this is how I want to be able to do it. Because I walked away from that feeling like I learned. I didn't feel like I was friggin' exhausted because I just tore apart 2 kindergartners in the sandbox.
Remember what I said last week? listen with the intent to understand, not to reply.
That was me.
I learned on my own person like Dougie.
You agreed with me, but somebody misquoted me. I'm pretty sure I said that first. I'm just saying. I misquoted. Pooh got credit for my quote because everybody loves Pooh.
Snuggy Dougie. Snuggy Dougie. Orla, it was really nice having you tonight.
Yes,
and I think that it's always nice for everyone to understand the diversity in our leadership so that they understand how much we embrace diversity in the group.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming out tonight and Snuggy
Dougie.
Yeah,
thanks for coming out, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Oh, listen. Hold on. Listen. We still have, don't worry, it's coming, I promise you, the casino bus. This Falls View Casino and Resort, whatever you call it. Get in a bus. There's a pickup at Square One, I believe 7 o'clock. Yorkdale, and then Square One at 7:30. And then
the thing is, you gotta
we're still finalizing. The problem is we're still finalizing pricing, and then we're gonna make a post, and then you can come on and buy your tickets, yada 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 yada. So
but if you're down, let us know so we can start making sure that we lock down the right size bus because it's all going to be based on numbers.
It's November 25th.
Yes.
7 o'clock from Yorkdale, 7:30. 7:45 from Square One. November 25th, Fallsview Casino.
So DM your interest to reserve your spot.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point it's too late to even send on a little deposit at this point.
We got an email, the Circle Gmail.
To do that. So
what is the cost for the thing?
That was
we were aiming for $30 for a single person and $50 for a couple. That's what we're aiming for. We just gotta finalize
30 per and 50 for a couple.
It wouldn't be much more.
That being said, we still want to be able to either include some things with that. And if not, that's where we are with the price. We still want to be able to give you giveaways for your money.
Yeah.
People.
So
you heard the doorbell. Me not hide and talk. The food come.
All right.
So thank you for joining us.
So
I got some alcohol you guys can get. So.
Yes. Giveaways. Giveaways. But you'll have
big up yourself.
I have Bacardi.
Yes.
Classic Ruby Mazio. Big up yourself.
So there'll have to be some trivia. There'll have to be some
Ayana, Empress. Sorry. We just have big up everybody before we go. Mila, Malika. Big up yourself.
Aisha there. Hi.
Hey, Aisha Duncan.
I see you, Classic Ruby. Classic Ruby.
Next week, send us your topics. Let us know what you want to talk about. Macy, Missy, you know, Cyril.
What's up, Jason?
Minna in Minna tell you what's in my cup.
This is Jamaican slang, guys. Come on. So people think I don't know shit, but I know what you're saying.
Exactly.
Irish and Jamaican slang is exactly patois.
Very similar.
Very similar. I don't know why,
Tiffany.
but it is. So you guys talk shit about me. I already know. But I already know.
Don't take Arlie simple, okay?
Yeah.
I make up yourself.
I understand what you're saying.
Where's all the men tonight? You see why we have to hold certain topics for next week? Moose, big up yourself. Foundation.
What's up, Foundation?
You've been with us since week 1. Etienne, yes. Big up yourself.
So
we got some good guys in the crew. We do.
And go ahead and share it on the replay tomorrow too. If you're watching on the replay, go ahead and comment. Alicia, I hope you had a
drop
good
a 2 if you're watching on the
birthday,
replay.
Alicia. We hope you had a good day. I hope you got drunk as fuck.
All right, girl, turn up.
I have something for you.
But guys, you know what? It's been a quieter week in the circle.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we can't always yam off of bread alone. What
DJ.
Man to live off of bread alone. There's gonna be weeks where we are quieter as an admin team because we are putting things together for you.
Oh,
but anyway,
all have jobs.
Hold on, the shirts.
You DM this one or you DM Tumpus.
No, DM
Tumpus.
DM Tumpus.
I don't read this, guys. Unless you got drama, I'll read the drama. But when it comes to shirts,
Danielle can help you too.
Danielle can help you.
But you do, from what I understand.
Don't message me.
From what I understand with Tumpus is
your drama, hit me with
we don't take the orders for the shirts first. I think that you either have to see him and drop your deposit for the shirt first, or you drop your shirt money first. So you'll have to talk with him about the logistics of that, because what has happened in the past is we've gotten I want one, and we go and we put in the orders and we have a surplus and there's nobody to buy
I did
shirt,
that.
right? So, you know, if you're very serious and you want to actually pick up your shirt,
just pay for your shirt.
Send in your details. You know, you want a long sleeve, short sleeve, V-neck, crew neck, men's
pay
cut,
for your
women's
shirt.
cut. We have ways for you to send us the money for your shirt.
I'm not going to be a hater. I'm getting a sweater for the bus trip.
Jersey.
If you want a sweater, I heard that sweaters can go on still.
Yes, ma'am.
Tay Dixon,
yes,
James, big up yourself. I see you guys.
Yeah. All right, people.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful night.
We're getting
See you
out of
next week.
here.
You know what I mean?
All
Talk
right,
the things them.
And don't worry, some nice refreshing changes to Talk the Tingz.
Yeah, Benny Lowe.
Shout out to
big
all
up.
loyalists. What's up, Benny?
Pop. Goodbye, guys.
Love you guys. See you next